Hello one beers, hello one beers, how are you? How are you? I hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing well. Tell me how's it going? Tell me how's it going? Yeah, how's it going? Tell me that in the chat. Tell me how's your week been going? Tell me how you've been maintaining with this heat wave that we've been experiencing. With that, I give you a very warm and cordial welcome back to our 1B class, to a new module. Believe it or not, we're already at the 5th one out of a 6-week summer intersession. My, how time has flown, and it always flies. That's why it's important to always remain consistent and to maintain the same effort through and through, because time always flies. As for me, lately I have been staying on my workout grind at the gym. Once again, I started working with my trainer at the gym, which is something that I had missed a lot during this pandemic, when all the gyms have been closed. So that's been rough. So I'm glad to be back at the gym. It's the coolest thing. Now, also, I got some watermelon and got that in the fridge cooling, and I recommend you guys do the same. Go get some watermelon. That's a perfect summer treat. So yeah, tell me, what's your favorite fruit? Tell me, how's your week been going? You can type that in the chat if there's anything cool that you've discovered, whether a new band or a new cool movie or a new video game that you had not heard of before. Type that in the chat. Tell me, how's everything going? So before proceeding into the signposts that we see in our calendar for this week's module, rather than a punny joke and rather than a fact, we have a riddle. Riddle me this, riddle me that, and I'm going to cover the answer because it's more fun when you don't know it. Why are bananas never lonely? Because they hang around in bunches. That's cute. A bunch of bananas. I like bananas. Do you guys like bananas? I eat those in my oatmeal. So let's open our calendar here. First thing that you'll notice is that we move into a new thematic unit. Remember that our larger thematic unit for this class was the human experience. And as citizens of this earth, as citizens of this planet, nature abounds and nature surrounds us. So that is the name of our thematic unit, nature and us. And you'll see our topical discussion board, and you hope you're going to enjoy it later on in the module for this week. Let's take a look at the signposts. The main things that you need to remember from our calendar for this week. The signposts are that we have our very last peer review workshop. We have our peer review workshop for the research paper, and the rough draft will be due by Thursday, July 22 by 11:59 p.m. Remember that the rough draft is you just writing, just getting started. It's going to be at least 2 pages, and the feedback for your classmates' drafts will be due by Sunday, and that will be by July 25, 11:59 p.m. Logistically, it will all be the same. You will get the drafts exactly 1 minute after this deadline. So right on Friday, July 23, right at 12 a.m., the Canvas system will distribute drafts to those students who submitted drafts of their own, yeah? Just like the last time. So that's what we have for our signposts for this week. Now check out our module, Nature and Us. Okay, first one that we're going to look at is the peer review workshop. Logistically, it's the same. If you need a reminder for how to use the tools, then please be so kind as to look at the video that I posted for our last peer review workshop. And because logistically, it'll be the same, the tools and everything, okay? So you're going to submit your rough draft of at least 2 pages by this Thursday, July 22, by 11:59 p.m. Canvas will give you your drafts 1 minute after this. So Friday, July 23 at 12 a.m. is when the Canvas system will distribute your drafts. Please provide feedback for your classmates by Sunday, and that will be by July 25 by 11:59 p.m. And here's the things that I want you to consider. Number one, I want you to highlight your classmate's thesis statement. That's important. Remember that the thesis statement is the whole project for the paper, yeah? It's the whole point of what they're writing. It's their project, yeah? Is it in the intro? Do they have one? They need to have one. Now, this particular prompt is asking that you fulfill this task within the thesis, and that is that you select an issue and propose a corresponding solution that will help with this issue. So that's what you need to have as your thesis. So is the draft that you're looking at, does it have that thesis that is offering that task, which is a selected issue and a proposed solution that corresponds and directly helps with that, right? Is it clear just what the issue is that your classmate will explore? You might laugh and you'd be like, Mr. Godoy, what? Why are you saying that? Well, I've actually had some submissions where students have reflected pretty much just how I presented it in the prompt. And it's been like, since the dawn of time, mankind has found solutions to issues. But the thing is that they've kept it so vague and just talking about issues in general, and they never choose one to focus on for the paper. So remember, your classmate needs to choose at least, they need to choose the issue and not keep it vague, okay? So if it's very vague and they haven't chosen an issue and it's not clear to you as a reader, then make sure to let them know. Here's another big one. Is their issue sufficiently narrow, or are they tackling something far too broad? So this is a lot like an inverted triangle, right? Where you start with your larger issue. Let's say global warming. Wow, global warming is massive, and that's at the base of our inverted triangle, right? And the idea is that you want to move down and get more and more narrow and focalize your attention as much as possible. If we're still with this inverted triangle idea, then you want to near the vertex of it, right? where the two angles meet, right? This is our inverted triangle. There's the base here. So you start with the broad topic of the issue of, say, it's like global warming. So what you want to do is select a particular a particular element of global warming. In this case, let's say you chose the greenhouse effect, right? And that is a process through which a lot of this global warming is happening, right? Through the greenhouse effect. Okay, so that's nice. What you've done is that you've focalized your attention a bit more, because you started with global warming. You focalized your attention a little bit more into and you said, okay, greenhouse effect. Now you need to choose an actual contributor, a direct contributor to the greenhouse effect. Remember, choose an element that directly contributes to this aspect of your issue, in this case the greenhouse effect. So let's say you chose fossil fuel vehicles, in other words, cars that use gasoline, right? And you're like, okay, so global warming, greenhouse effect, something that is contributing to the greenhouse effect is cars that use gasoline. Okay, so if cars that use gasoline, if that's what I'm focusing on, then as an issue you need to choose something that directly corresponds and helps with the harm that this particular thing that you're looking at is causing. In this case, fossil fuel vehicles. So let's say you propose electric vehicles instead. So ditching the fossil fuel vehicles and instead promoting switching to electric vehicles. So you see how an electric vehicle directly corresponds to the harm that gasoline vehicles are doing, insofar as their harm goes to greenhouse effect and overall global warming. So you see how we focalize our attention as much as possible within our inverted triangle. I wish I had a line to draw here, but This is like a inverted triangle. You see how we focalize our attention more and more. That's what I mean by making sure that you are narrowing your attention. Now, I understand this is 1B, but in my 1A class, we look at an article, and it's called "What is Academic Writing" by L. Lenny Irvin. If you have time, take a look at it. It's so helpful to really better conceptualize what it is that we do here with academic writing. And there's one line that always stands out to me, and that is this. And this is the line. It says, "A well-tended garden is better than a large one full of weeds." And when he says that, he's talking about choosing topics and choosing topics for papers, and in this case, in this paper. So if we say something massive like global warming, that's big. The well-tended garden is when you focalize your attention more. Like, notice how we moved on down to in this case to the greenhouse effect. See how that was one particular aspect of global warming. See, we focalize our attention more and more, because the more you do that, the more acuity that you can achieve, because the more narrow your parameters are in your area of focus, then the more time and thoroughness and detail you can offer. Yeah, so do be mindful of that. You don't want to have something like super duper broad where it's like, okay, I'm gonna tackle world hunger and all the world. Like, wow, that's really massive. Like, if you're gonna look at, say, like hunger, then focalize your attention again. Maybe hunger in the United States, or hunger in California, or hunger in Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, I don't know. But focalize your attention as much as possible, and that makes your task that much easier. A lot of times as writers, we can become overwhelmed when we tackle something massive and really set ourselves up for what could potentially be a master's thesis or a doctoral dissertation. It's not that at all. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. So remember, narrow your focus as much as possible. That's a big one. Is your classmates' proposed solution clear? Right. That's pretty self-explanatory. Do they make it clear just what it would take to enact the solution? So that's the cost of it, right? Whether time, whether money, whether legislation, what will it take to enact this solution? How would it help their selected issue? That's a big one. You need to explicitly make the connection. Okay, here's what I'm proposing, and here's how it will directly help to really counter or mitigate the harmful effects of my issue. You need to directly make that connection. Don't leave it in the air, not at all. Does your classmates' draft align with the indications of this paper's prompt? So in order to do this, it'll be helpful to actually open up the prompt and take a look to see that they are indeed hitting all the points that they need to for what is being asked of them for this paper. Do you see any places in the essay that can be further developed? Does everything in the paper work towards supporting its central project, which is the thesis, right? In this case, the central project / thesis is the issue and the solution, right? If not, then offer some ideas for how this can be accomplished. So remember that throughout the paper, where we have our body paragraphs, everything that you're writing has to somehow directly point back to or support your project, right? If you're reading something that sounds like a tangent and you're left scratching your head, I wonder why this student all of a sudden out of left field, they're talking about X or Y or Z, and they're not making any connection as to how that directly points back to their project, then make sure to help them rein their attention back to where they need to, which is towards the project. So a strong writer will always directly make that point to explicitly connect back to the project. Never leave things in the air and say, oh, okay, the reader will tie these ends. Like, no, just make it clear how it connects to your project, and that will add cohesiveness. Because if the reader is left like, why are you telling me this, then that's not a good move. Like, there's a current slang that they'll say, that's not the move. Okay. Are claims slash opinions slash analyses supported by evidence from the writer's sources? If not, then offer some suggestions. So this is a research paper, and what makes it a research paper is the fact that there's a compulsory requirement to add in other voices into the conversation. When I say voices, those are other sources, right? Whether an article, whether the voices from an article, from a book, from a documentary, from an interview, you tell me. And you're bringing in those in to support your arguments, to support your claims, to support your opinions, to support your analyses, just like what a lawyer does in the courtroom, right? The lawyer has their central argument. Let's say like you who are watching this video were accused of tax evasion, and the thesis of your lawyer who is supporting you in court is that you are innocent, and that you did indeed pay your taxes, and it was just some computer glitch that is, I don't know, wrongfully accusing you of not paying taxes, but you did. It was some computer glitch. Okay, so if that's a central argument, that's a central claim of the lawyer, then in that case, then they would be calling witnesses to the stand. They'd be calling exhibits upon exhibits. See how they're bringing in other voices into the conversation, but it's them weaving it through. So that's what we do here, to bolster our opinions, our claims, our analyses, and that's what we're doing with our sources here. This is a big one. Does the writer address implications? Implications, remember, is the so what. It's when you answering the so what question. Here's why it matters. Here's why it's important. Here's why it's significant. Ramifications directly connects to the implication. A ramification is, if left unchecked, here is a potential outcome. Here's a potential tomorrow. In this case, because it's issue and solution, if he actually wrote this down here, for issue, this is what we do. For implication, why is it important issue? So what? Here's why it matters. Here's why it's a big deal. But here's the ramifications, which I was just talking about. What could a potential tomorrow look like if left unchecked? So if a potential tomorrow, if the outcome is really bad or terrible, then that helps to prove your point of why it's a big issue, why it's a big deal, why people should care, why it matters, why we should take action to help towards that issue, right? See how that's directly connected? And then the solution, again, the implications of it. Why is it important? Here's why it matters. Answer the so what question is the main thing I'm trying to get you to see. Answer the so what question. Answer the so what question. How can your solution help towards this issue? So again, directly make that connection of how your solution will directly correspond to the issue, how it will directly help, right? And if there's anything else you'd like to add. So that's what we have for our guiding questions for this peer review workshop. Now, it is our last peer review workshop, so finish just as strong as you started. I'm rooting for you guys. Okay, next one is our topical discussion board. Ooh. When I was a kid, and actually still, I still like it. I always liked Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl wrote James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, the list goes on. Also, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I always loved the work of Roald Dahl. But in any case, this is a short story by Roald Dahl, a really cool one. I don't necessarily want to ruin it. I want you to read it. And as you're reading it, highlight and take notes, things that stand out to you, jot them down. Then let's do the same thing with this video. I actually found this person, my lease, who has the same project as the protagonist from this story. I thought it was neat. I was like, wow, it's Klausner in real life. I thought that was so cool. Okay, so watch the video, take some notes too. Here's the questions for a discussion, or the task, right? Number 1, cite a quote from the story that you feel is significant. Number 2, what is its larger meaning as it relates to the story? Excuse me. Number 3, why is this quote significant? Roald Dahl, next one is Roald Dahl takes us into the magical world of sound. In this story, the main character, Klausner, builds a machine that can pick up sounds that exist beyond our own hearing threshold. What a rad concept. That's why I'm offering this story. It's a really, really rad concept. How does this relate to the work of my lease as seen in the linked video above? Okay, because it's a discussion board, remember to also reply to at least one classmate's post. That is what we... Oh, another thing. After reading the story, take this short reading quiz. It's 5 questions. You have 5 minutes. It's really clear cut. Easy. If you read it, you'll do fine. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Get that done. And yep, let's do it at the end of this module as per usual. And that is it. That is it, my friends, for this week's module. With that being said, I wish you a lovely week. Stay cool. Go buy some watermelon. Go swimming. Enjoy your week. And see you guys next time.